Whew, it is bright still. All right. Thank you all for joining me on this, the end of this Sunday. This is a nice Sunday, almost evening Sunday afternoon. Gonna wrap up this lazy Sunday by inviting you to another episode of Buying eBay Parts That You Don't Have to. This is episode 2. So today we're gonna talk about a classic: hood pins. Now, as you can see, hood pins are used for many uses. Now I'm going to be using my trunk because it's easier to open than it is the hood. The hood is bent for other reasons. So, as you can see, this is just the classic cotter pin style hood pin. It comes with the cotter pin itself, the actual pin that it goes through, and the plate. Very simple. You make your hole, put the pin through, nut on either side, clamps it down. Easy peasy. Super simple. These things are great because if you need to hold down, like the trunk, because I got rid of the latch so I can put a tire in here. Later on, cut a hole in it, but that's a different story for a different day. But super simple. If you ever need to hold your hood down, these are great because they're only in the range of $7 to $12, depending on where you find them, at what time, who's having a sale, that kind of thing. So, positives: simple, cheap, effective. They're honestly great. The major downsides are that they're not that pretty. These ones have been on here for about 5 years, and the plates were black. Obviously, I'm not going to spend a lot of money on paint to give you these plates with a $8 part, and obviously these rust because it's not stainless. It's cheap steel. It might not even be steel. It might be aluminum. Yeah, it's probably steel. I should do more research. I need to find a magnet. Why do I just always have things? All right, it is steel. Anyway, so, but obviously these are not that pretty, especially after they get dull like this. The pin itself is also black and it's also dulled now, so it looks okayish at the start. Obviously, it gets worse over time. This thing just sits outside all the time, so it's gonna be pretty bad. Now my hood is bent here and right there from having the push button style hood pins, but I bought the cheap eBay ones. Obviously, I bought the eBay ones. That's what this whole thing's about. So I will find a listing on those ones to avoid. But if you need something cheap, just go with this. Like, it's it is what it is. It's exactly, I can't explain any more than that. Here's an example of some newer ones. These have only been on here almost a year, and they still look halfway decent. The screws have rusted, but I usually don't use the screws. I usually just rivet them. Um, but I do plan on changing these out for arrow catch ones, so I just put the screws in there. But I haven't decided if I'm going to keep this hood because this is very dented. All right, here is the other option. You have arrow catch. I personally really like these because of how much cleaner a look that is. Look at that. Very nice. Nice and sleek. The difference is these use a spade style pin to fit inside there. These are very nice and nice looking. So there's the major trouble with these is that their internals are plastic for the most part. It causes sticky. So yeah, these are great because they look so much better than just the standard pin sticking out of the top of your hood. So you actually have a nice sleek design. But yeah, the internals are 90% plastic. There's the metal pin and there's a metal push pin, but it's plastic on plastic in there mostly. So they will get kind of gummed up, and you gotta kind of help push. What I think is happening is that where the pin goes in, when it comes out, it overextends, and then when you try to push everything for leverage, everything just binds. That's my best guess. I usually just have to get my knife in there and kind of pry a little, just give it a little push, and it'll go, no problem. For a while there, they were working pretty good, and I thought it would fix itself, but now I just went and broke it or whatever again. I must have just been pushing weird, because that just went right back down again. There we go. Yeah, and then it locks. Unlock, open, close, lock. Very nice. The other problem with these is that you have to have the giant oval you have to cut, but it's so worth it. All right, now here are the ones you want to avoid. These are the like push button hood pin style. These are awful. These let my hood go at 40 miles an hour. Hood flew back. They do not latch well at all. They do for a couple times, just enough to get you comfortable with it, and then they'll fail. I'm not even sure if I would put them on a bumper, honestly. I have heard there are the ones like quick latch that work very well, but I would stay away from these ones, because honestly at the $12 price point, you might as well just go back and get the other ones that I'm trying to search here. But now that I've clicked on those ones, that's all I'm getting is the push button ones. But what I'm trying to get at is that for $12, you might as well buy these ones right here, just the classic latch style hood pins. Those are a much better deal. I'm trying to get my search to go back to where it's supposed to be and not giving me these button style ones anymore. But just like these, see, these would be perfect. Those were $10.98. You can get them for $11 something in black, $11.95 in blaze, $12 for black ones. Yeah, it's, you know, so like in between like $10 and $15, you got yourself a perfectly working hood pin. Works great. Can't go wrong. Now this other style I've never used. I didn't click on one. I think I click on one here soon. The slide style, that's just a clasp right there, the gold ones. I've never used these, only because I do not like the style of them. I don't like how they look. So I've never used them. You know, be that as may, they may work for you, but I would just get these classic pin ones, super simple. Now, with the arrow catch ones, yes, they are pretty pricey. They're around $70 to $80, typically $75, $76. But you got to watch out for these universal ones that are arrow catch lookalikes, because they are not nearly as good. The plastics are super brittle in them. They do work for a while, but they do not hold up over time quite like the arrow catch ones will. These things just, I've gotten stuck in a parking lot and I had to zip tie my hood down because I had these at one point and they just broke. So while it may seem better because there's a better price point, this is quite literally, you get what you pay for. Boy, this is taking me so long to do this. There's no more sun and the moon is right there. All right, so quick review. OG regular pin style hood pins, definitely a 8.5 out of 10. Guys, you can't beat the price point. $12-ish for a pair of hood pins that are going to keep your hood down no matter what. These things are super sturdy. The only thing that's wrong with them is really that it rusts and the paint's bad, but you can't fault them for that at the $12 price point. Real arrow catches, definitely a 9 out of 10. The only thing I can fault them on is the plastic bits on the inside, but honestly, they still work fabulous because they hold up. I've had these on here for at least 4 years, and they still work. They get caught every now and then, but I honestly just deal with it because I've broken the cheap ones. I thought I actually had some arrow catches that I could actually put on the desk here, but I don't. But so arrow catches coming in at $80. Yes, it's a little steep, especially for, we're supposed to be buying eBay parts. But it's, for the price point, it's really great. If you do want to just go ahead and buy the eBay versions of them, they are $30 typically. And while that is about a $50 price difference, so that is a big difference, but you're also getting that difference in quality. Just remember that. I wouldn't fault you for getting the cheap eBay ones. I ran them and they weren't great, but they weren't the worst thing I've ever had. I'd probably rate them at about a 4 out of 10 because they do work for a while, but the plastic just degrades quickly because it's just cheap stuff. Definitely stay away from the eBay push button style hood pins. They're awful. 0 out of 10. I
I wouldn't even put them on a bumper. I'd rather just keep using my zip ties to hold my bumper on. I have heard that there's the quick latch ones. I've heard those work. But then you're paying way more money and getting into a whole brand thing, and that's not what this is. This is eBay. All right, guys, I think that's gonna do it for this one. It is just hood pins. There's not really much else I can say about them. I'm surprised I drug it out this long, honestly, but it is an eBay part, and I do like talking about my cheap eBay parts. So again, thanks for coming. If there's any parts that you think you might want to see or you can think of, or that, anything like that, anything cheap that you think, oh, might be a good part to test, or just review or look over, drop a comment, send me a DM, that kind of stuff. I will put the links into the link tree. I'll have those in the description, so you can check those out yourself. Thank you.